If you're a 7 to 8 figure entrepreneur and you feel that sometimes when you interact with a woman that you actually desire, you might feel a bit of lack of confidence and that might ruin the chances that you have with her, then today's video is for you. Because I'm going to cover how to build massive confidence using mental reprogramming. And this specifically when you're interacting, speaking with women, because I know that many successful guys still struggle with this, and you might have some fears, some nervousness, and some habits that are going against you finding your ideal girlfriend. And this is a process that I have personally used to go from somebody who struggled to show interest and many other things around women and around confidence, and to somebody who has met multiple women through cold approach, meaning being able to approach them anywhere, anytime, having amazing experiences, and finding my ideal girlfriend. So first of all, I'm going to cover the mental feedback loop and the power that this has in order to build confidence in you. And I'll give some shout out to Sam Ovens, the OG that first introduced me to this concept of mental reprogramming. Maybe you know him as well. So I just wanted to put it out there that I learned him from him and I applied it specifically in dating and with cold approach in the past 6, almost 7 years. And I've got an amazing success with it. So I wanted to share it with you as well. So let's cover the feedback loop. So this is basically how your mind works with anything that you're doing. You have your beliefs, so what you think is true, what you think is not true. Then you have the actions that you take according to those beliefs. Then you have the results that you experience in your life. And then you either take positive or negative feedback and you reinforce the belief, or you chip away at it. So this is how everything works. And let's say, just to put an example, you might have the belief that you are good with women. You're naturally charismatic with women. You've always been good with women. And then the actions that you take, whenever you're going through your day, whenever you're in any place, you interact with new women and you do it with confidence. You do it in a good mood because you know that you're good with women. You have that belief. And then what results do you get when you do it in this way? The results are positive. The women respond well to you, and the feedback that you get is positive, and you reinforce that belief. Oh yeah, actually I am good with women. And this is literally how most people and everybody actually installs the beliefs that they have in their life. And the funny thing is that this starts as a totally random occurrence in most people's lives. So you might have had some random experience in school that installed a certain belief in you, and then you started acting according to that belief, and it snowballed into your whole identity, and now you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and you still act with those beliefs because you never thought to question them. So I'll give you the example, in my case, that I had from when I was 8 years old to when I was 16, 17, 18, when I started doing cold approach. So I remember, and this is all in retrospect, whenever I'm doing this whole process and thinking about my whole life and why was I acting with women in certain ways, I think back to certain experiences that I had in my past and how those shaped the identity that I had moving forward. And I'm going to apply all of these into your life. So I'm just going to share some things about me so that you understand how this whole process works. So again, when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I don't remember exactly. I will have to check the dates. I was in a family trip, and this was in Andorra. And we went to a hotel. We were staying there for the New Year's, and we were in some dinner, the New Year's dinner. And there was a girl on the table beside us, that I found very cute. She was about my age, 8, 9, 10 years old. And I was thinking about this girl, and I was talking with my brother, with my older brother, about it. And he was encouraging me to go and say something to her. And anyway, after 1-2 hours, I decided to go up there and say if she wanted to dance with me. because there was like a little dance floor, family friendly. So I took my courage, I went up there, super nervous, my heart was beating super fast, and I asked if she wanted to dance with me, and she said no. And at that moment, I felt such embarrassment, and it was an experience that I kept repeating in my head again and again because it was in front of people, and I had built up all this expectation of course she's gonna say yes, it's gonna be a good time, and then I do it and she says no, and I stand there as an 8-year-old not knowing what to do, and then I go back to my table with a lot of shame and embarrassment. So then, what happens is that when you have a certain experience, and many of these are in the childhood, but it can also be in your adult years. I can also give some examples later of adult years. So you have some experience, and that is a painful experience. It puts a mark in you. And humans, what do? Whenever we experience something, do we just leave it at that and forget about it the next day? Well, no. What we do is that we repeat that experience again and again and again in our heads. And the funny thing is that our brain doesn't really know the difference between something that is happening in real life or in our brains when it comes to building the beliefs that you have. So if you have some bad experience and you keep repeating it in your brain again and again, so I kept thinking back to that moment where I approached her, she rejected me, I felt embarrassed, and I kept repeating it again and again and again. What happens? Okay, so I had a certain result in my life, which was that I got rejected by a woman. And that got me feedback, negative feedback, and built a belief that showing my interest to girls, to women, was something that I should avoid. It's like fire. Do not put your hand near fire. And then the actions that I was taking is that I kept on not doing it again. So I was avoiding the fire, and I kept building this belief again and again and again, especially in my mind. I had the belief of I shouldn't talk to girls. And the action in my mind was that I talked to a girl one time and I got a bad result, negative feedback. Oh yeah, this is reinforced. I shouldn't talk to girls because that one time I talked to a girl and I showed interest, and the feedback that I got was negative. So again and again and again and again. And one of the things that I struggled with in my teenage years was actually showing that interest to girls. So I got quite a bit of attention because of the personality that I had. I was doing many things in public, and we had some even competitions and things like that. I was playing the piano for everybody and doing things like that, okay? And in general, I was somebody who was a bit out there and expressing myself, but then I had trouble showing that interest to women. And this is one of the experiences that shaped that habit that I had. So again, these can be the most powerful thing that builds up the best beliefs that you want to have to build massive confidence, and I'm going to explain how to do it, but it can also work against you. So this is just an incredible tool. It's like a weapon. You can do amazing things with it. You can defend yourself, your family, your loved ones with a weapon. It's an amazing invention, but you can also do a lot of harm. So this is just a tool that is running continuously, and you decide whether you want to use it in your favor or it's going to work against you. So then what happened? Well, when I started doing cold approach, and I started actually watching videos about guys doing cold approach, doing pickup, speaking to women anywhere, that belief that I had, which is it's not good to talk to women, it's not good to show interest to women, that started getting agitated. So, okay, maybe this is not true, because I'm seeing proof that if I had the belief that it's good to show interest to women, I could experience better results. So that's when I started changing this belief, and I did my first approach. I did my first approach at 16. I went to the library with a friend of mine because I saw some videos of guys doing it there. And after 2 hours walking and almost going home, I just saw a girl in the elevator, ran up to her, talked to her. The interaction was great, was amazing. The reaction was amazing. And I reinforced the belief that, damn, actually, if I show my interest to girls, I can get results which are amazing in life. So then it started going up and up and up and up, and throughout the years to come, I had, as I was saying, amazing experiences with women thanks to being able to show interest, something which was totally contrary to what was happening in my teenage years, and finding my ideal girlfriend in that same way, showing interest from the beginning. So I'm going to give you some keys so that you can apply this feedback loop so that you take advantage of it. Because what you want to do is that you want to intervene here. So the beliefs part is what you want to intervene in. That's what happened to me when I started doing cold approach. So I saw some videos of people doing it. So I intervened in my beliefs. My beliefs were, it's not good to show interest to women, and then some other ones like you shouldn't talk to strangers. But then these beliefs started being agitated. I started here because it's very hard to take action when you don't even think that it's something good what you're gonna do. So you change your beliefs first. And what you need is, the first point, a new identity. Because look, the identity that you have right now, maybe there are amazing things about it, and you just keep all the amazing things. But I think it would be safe to assume that there are some things that you think that to achieve your goals, you should change. So this happens with any area. Let's say that you are somebody who doesn't work out and you want to build a good body, a healthy body. Then you have to put a new software, a new added condition in your identity, which is that, oh, I'm somebody who works out 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 times per week. So you're improving yourself. Well, the same happens with dating. You need a new identity in dating, because now if you feel some lack of confidence with women at times, let's say you see a very attractive woman and you're having trouble in approaching her because you feel uncomfortable or fearful or nervous, or you're interacting with a woman that you actually like, you're actually speaking to her thanks to some social circle or some dating app or something like some event that you go to, but you feel that you're kind of putting her on a pedestal and you don't know exactly what to talk about, and you're second guessing yourself and you're overthinking what to send her then on text or what to say in person, or the type of communication that you have when you're with the buddies and you're unstifled. You cannot replicate that when you're in front of a woman that you actually like. Then you need a new identity. And I'll tell you something. As I was saying, most of our identities are just shaped randomly. So you might think, okay, Armin is talking about talking to women anywhere, anytime. Well, he's a bit more extroverted, but me, I am introverted. The things I've done in my life are introverted. My job is introverted. I've always been introverted. I am this way. But my friend, this is just something that has happened to you, but it's something that you can decide to change. And I know that you might be thinking, I don't want to change. I like being introverted. That's awesome. You can keep being introverted in some areas in your life. But if you want to meet your ideal girlfriend, you need to put yourself out there. You need to build some extroversion into you. So it's like somebody who wants to be healthy and get a good body, and he says, no, I'm good just not going to the gym ever. Well, then it's going to be very hard for you to build a good body. So it's the same with women. If you actually want to find your ideal girlfriend, you need to be willing to develop some new qualities in you, a new identity. And I'll tell you that the identity that you have right now, it's totally changeable. It's not something that you're born with. It's not something, charisma is not something that you're born with and, okay, I'm just good with women naturally. It's just the experiences that somebody had when they're little, and then when they're a young adult, they seem super charismatic and it seems natural. Oh, he was always this way. No, but you can trace it back to some experience. Like the experience that I talked about where I tried to talk to a girl, didn't work out, and it shaped the belief that I have and the identity I had for 10 years. then the same happens in a positive way. Maybe somebody had some good experiences in school, and then that snowballed into him thinking, oh yeah, I'm a charismatic person, I'm good with women. Then he gets good results, better feedback, better beliefs, better actions, boom, 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 boom. It goes up, it's a snowball. It's the same as with the compound effect of money. So rich people, it's easier for them to get richer. So Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, every year they add onto their net worth, and it goes in an exponential way. The same thing happens with any belief, and it goes either in the positive way or in the negative way. So you need a new identity. You need to think about the goals that you have. In this case, it's finding your ideal girlfriend and being somebody confident. Then, okay, what beliefs do I have right now that I need to change? What type of person do I need to become, to step into, in order to achieve my goals effortlessly? So think about the goal that you have in your dating life. Finding your ideal girlfriend, let's say, and before that, interacting with women anywhere, being confident, being more charismatic. Those goals, what type of person, what type of version of you would achieve them effortlessly, easy? So let's say you had the charisma of James Bond. Just to put a visual example, is not that everybody has to be the same. You have to choose your own identity. You don't even have to copy me, of course. But just to put an example, if you had the charisma of James Bond, where in the movies he's able to get any girl, how easy would it be for you to have a lot of options, filter, and find one that you actually like? So you have to think about, okay, what type of identity I need to develop to achieve my results the way that I want to, and what type of beliefs that new me has. So if you want to meet new women, then one of the beliefs that it's probably good that you should have is that you can interact with women anywhere, anytime, and that it's good to talk to strangers if you have good intentions, that it's good to show your interest, it's good to be proactive, it's good to be out there as a man. Those are some of the beliefs that you need. And you need a new identity for that. Now, the second point I want to talk about is stories of the past. I told you one story of the past of mine, which was that experience I had doing my approach when I was 8, 9 years old. And what you want to do is that you want to reframe the stories of the past that you had. So maybe you had some very painful breakup. Maybe you had some very painful situation, embarrassing, as I told myself, where you showed your interest with a woman and she rejected you in a very harsh way. Or you felt ignored, or you felt like you felt weird and awkward in certain situations. And you keep repeating those stories of the past again and again. What happens is that you're doing this to yourself. You're having a negative feedback loop. So you want to stop and you want to reframe those stories of the past. So for example, the way that I would reframe my story of the past when I was 8 years old and I approached that girl is that I was an actual icon. Like, oh my God, as an 8-year-old, just having the courage to go up there and ask a girl that I didn't know if she wanted to dance with me, that's a total champion. I took action, and look, she wasn't interested. That's totally fine. But I took action like a winner. And this is the way that you need to reframe the stories of the past. So maybe you had a breakup, okay? And I know that many guys start developing this area after a breakup. Maybe you had a relationship that just fell into your lap. You met her in college or through friends, and you didn't have to put much effort into getting into that relationship. And it was fine while it lasted, but it ended, and now you want to develop this area. So I know many guys come from that place. And maybe that was a painful breakup. And many guys repeat in their mind the mistakes that they did. Maybe you miss your ex, or maybe even if you don't miss her, you keep thinking back to the mistakes that you made, and you keep thinking back to that moment where you guys split up and that painful moment. And these can lead into you having trouble opening yourself up to a new woman. this can lead to you having avoidance issues. This also happened to me at some point where you think, I'm just gonna focus on other areas in my life. Oh, no. Look, dating is just something that I will do in the future. I'm just focusing on my business and my health. And I've told this to myself. And though I think it can be good to sometimes put some focus into an area of your life and ignore the rest a little bit, I think that many of the guys, and myself included in the past, when they say they're just focusing on themselves and they're not dating women, it's just a coping mechanism. Because either they don't know exactly what to do to get women, or they're afraid of getting hurt again because they got hurt in the past, or they're afraid of hurting somebody. So they want to avoid the whole thing altogether. And again, these are all your beliefs. So you need to reframe those stories of the past. Okay, I had this experience with an ex, and I had this breakup, but this made me stronger. This made me realize what I really want in a woman. This made me realize the way that I really need to act in my next relationship. This gave me the lessons, this armed me with the lessons I need to find my ideal girlfriend and have a healthy relationship with her. Any failure can be reframed as a lesson. And that's what I want you to do with the stories of your past. So you can repeat them in your mind again, but you repeat them in a positive way. So look, I could repeat them of, oh, I was 8 years old. As an 8-year-old, I went and approached a girl that I didn't know and I showed my interest. Damn, that's positive feedback. I'm a champion. I am somebody with courage. I'm an action taker. That's a belief. Boom, the action is I take more action. I get better results. I'm an action taker, better feedback. Boom, 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 boom. So that reframing is very powerful. Now, the third point I want to cover on how to change your beliefs is that you should control your influences. So look, if you don't control your influences, they control you. If you don't have a plan, you become someone else's plan. If you don't have a clear plan on how to build your beliefs, you become someone else's plan and you build someone else's beliefs. Somebody else builds the beliefs that he wants into you. And this is what happens with nowadays social media and news and everyone, the whole world trying to get your attention. Why do they want to get your attention? Because they want you to believe certain things. So you need to really control your influences and think, everything that I allow to enter my brain, is it good or is it bad for me? So there's the very famous quote which says, we are what we eat. So your mother maybe said this to you when she wanted you to eat healthy when you were little. And I totally agree with that. And I will add another layer onto it. I believe we are what we consume. And within consuming, it's physical things, yes, but it's also information. So if every day you wake up, first thing you do is take out your phone, look at the news, look at, let's say, Twitter or X, look at Instagram, and you have already somebody telling you how to live and how to do things. Even this video can be an example. Look, I think it's good if you watch this video as something intentional, like, okay, yeah, I want to watch this video and I want to know how to build massive confidence, more that, oh yeah, this just, I wasn't aware of it. I opened my phone in the morning and I just came across this. And I think it's good if you did, because I think it is positive for you, but you should look for it yourself. So you should judge it yourself. You have to control your influences. This includes also this video and me. And for many periods in my life, the best periods that I've had in my life, by far, this one included, is when I control my influences to the max. So right now, I don't consume any social media pretty much, 99% of the times. And this allows me to just take the action that I want to take without being influenced by many of the beliefs of other people. So you open Twitter, you open Instagram, you open YouTube, and you have somebody putting their beliefs onto you. And yes, the best is if you're super strong in your mindset and you can just take a look at those beliefs and just reject them instantly. But this takes some effort, and especially when you're starting to build your new beliefs. Let's say you start building your new belief of, hey, showing interest and talking to women is a natural thing, it's a good thing. And then you open your phone and on the news it's like, okay, you shouldn't talk to anybody, you should be very careful with what you do, it's not good to talk to strangers, some news outlet against, masculinity, let's say, and you're like, damn, I was trying to build this belief in myself and now I have to think about this article. I had an experience when I was working with a client that already achieved amazing results by doing cold approach and talking to women anywhere. And this was like some years ago. And he, after some months, sent me a news piece from Spain that was talking about that talking to strangers is very bad and this, pickup guys are horrible and this and that you shouldn't talk to strangers. And he was telling me, I don't know if what I'm doing is good, is this starting to affect me? And this was somebody who was already in this process and getting amazing results thanks to that. So he started in a point where he pretty much had very little experience with women. Now he was with a woman that he liked and he was meeting other women at the same time because it wasn't yet a serious relationship at that point. But he was getting all these amazing results and that news article made him question this. And this is normal. When you're building the beliefs, you want to control your environment a lot more. I'll give you another example. So at the end of 2019, I started watching a series called Californication. Maybe you know it. It's actually quite good in terms of entertainment. Hank Moody is an epic character and there are many scenes which are very cool in terms of charisma and social skills and I guess the fantasy of, being able to attract any women. So I started watching this. And the funny thing is that I got kind of better with women thanks to that, because I was taking some of the characteristics and some of the beliefs of Hank Moody of like, hey, I'm just going to talk to any girl, not take her seriously, easy, boom, boom, boom. I was getting good results with women. But the funny thing is that I started taking his chaotic behavior as well. So I started drinking beer. And I literally never drink beer before. But because he was an alcoholic and drinking beer, I was like, oh, not even consciously, like this is all subconscious. I was like, oh, maybe one day, like not watching the series or anything, I was like, oh, maybe I'll have a beer. And then I was drinking a bit more beer. And this was for like 1 month, 2 months. I didn't become an alcoholic, but just as an example. And then I became a bit more chaotic. So I always liked to have discipline in myself. But after watching this, I became a bit more chaotic. And I was not so ambitious. I was like, okay, let's take a chill pill, let's take it easy. Let's just live life, day by day. And the funny thing is that I inherited some good beliefs, but also some bad beliefs. And my friends had to shake it out of me. My business partners at that time and friends was like, brother, what are you doing? We need to focus. We need to do this. We need to do that. And yes, I went back to that disciplined mind after 2 months. But it's a funny example of just something you think is like totally innocent, like watching some series. It's giving you some influences. And I don't think that long term it's good to become like some kind of monk and never had any type of entertainment. But especially if you're trying to build a new identity, in the first month, first 2 months, first 3 months, it's amazing to just cut everything out. Look, I'm just cutting everything out. I'm doing the dopamine detox, however you want to call it. I'm just going to focus on my own goals, my own plan, my own type of lifestyle. And I'm going to forget about Twitter. I'm going to forget about Instagram. I'm going to forget about YouTube. I'm just focusing on my own thing and with the influence that I choose. So maybe instead of having 30 things I'm subscribed to on YouTube, I just subscribe to 2, 3 for this period of 30 to 90 days. And I just look at these type of videos with intention. But it's totally different than just one day opening it up and, whatever comes in, I'm just going to click on it. I think it's good to control your influences for a bit of time. And the fourth is the power of reframing. So I talked about this when it comes to the stories of the past, how powerful it is to just say, hey, I had this story when I was little, I'm just gonna reframe it into something positive. Well, the same happens, but with anything that you get in terms of results. So you might be thinking, okay, Armin, what if I put the belief of I'm good with women, it's good to speak with women, then the action I take is doing a cold approach, approaching a woman anywhere, and then she rejects me. Doesn't this mean that I get negative feedback and that I go against this belief that it's good to talk to women? Well, no, my friend, not if you use the power of reframing. So what you focus on is what actually goes on in your mind. So what you focus on, where attention goes and your energy flows. This is a phrase that I don't know who said it. I don't remember, but it's one that I always remember. Where you put your attention is super important. So you do a cold approach with the belief that it's good to talk to strangers. The woman rejects you or ignores you. Instead of thinking, oh, she rejected me, this is negative feedback for this belief, you think, you reframe yourself, oh my, that was amazing. Like the balls that I have, the courage that I have to speak to a stranger in a natural way, in a respectful way. I'm a genius, I'm a master, I'm a king. Boom, you create that new belief. Oh, it's good to talk to strangers because I feel good after it, whatever happens. And this is the power of reframing, that whatever happens in terms of results, you still can build a good belief in yourself. The beliefs that you want to build, you can build them just by reframing. The same happens with anything. You go on a date, you might have the belief that, oh, you want to build the belief of it's good to show interest. It's good to be open with a woman. It's good to overshare, to convey my identity, which, by the way, is one of the most powerful things, okay? But then you go on a date and you do that. You open yourself up. You talk about your passions. You talk about what you like to do. You talk about your style of humor. And then the woman, after the date, ghosts you, doesn't reply back. Well, you might think, okay, Armin, I'm getting negative feedback. Now I shouldn't overshare because then that's getting me bad results. No, you just reframe again. Oh my God, it was super epic how in the first date, I was able to talk about myself with such passion, and I was able to filter. So that woman that I spoke to, well, it looks like we were in a good match, because if I share my identity and she opts out, it's no problem. It's just we're not a good fit. And I'm glad that I knew about this the first day and not after 6 months of meeting her. And this is what many guys do, by the way. Just put some character on to impress a woman, to make her like him, and the girl doesn't even know who she's talking to. But because you put on this character, she gets attracted to that character. And then after 3-6 months, when you reveal the true you, then there's a mismatch. She's like, this is not the guy that I was talking to. This is not the person that I was in front of the first date. And she, by the way, is going to mirror your same behavior. So in the first date, if you don't share about yourself, you're like very reserved, you're closed off, she's going to do the same. If you put on the character, she's going to do the same. This is the law of the mirror. So I know I went into a tangent here, but this just was another example of reframing. So you do what you believe makes sense while respecting everybody, of course. You cannot think, oh yeah, I'm just going to have to believe that screwing people over and cheating them and lying is good, and then I'm just going to reframe to... You could use it, by the way. You could do that. You could totally do that. I know people who reframe that lying is good. Oh yeah, lying is good because then it's di-di-di-di-di-di. They reframe it and they intellectualize it, and they become these are like psychopaths, basically, where they lie and they think it's good to lie, and they have this built up identity of some beliefs which go against being, respectful to other people and living in harmony. You could use it. As I said, this is a gun. You can use it for good or you can use it for bad. So you have to decide yourself what you want to do. But then again, there are other laws, like the law of the mirror. So these people who use this to lie, to cheat, to screw people over, then they get that same energy in their lives sooner or later. And that's what happens. So you want to use this for good and reframe it when you're doing good things. Now, I'm going to end with a quote. And again, this is two from Sam Ovens. I just want to give full credit where credit is due. And as I was saying, I used this whole process in the past 6-7 years to completely change my dating life. So I know what I'm talking about. But this is such a good quote, which is, it doesn't matter what is true, only what you believe is true, because with work, that will become true. And these words, I repeat them every day to myself, every morning, every night, because they're very powerful. And as I said, you can build any identity you want. You can design exactly the type of man that you want to do, exactly the type of confidence that you want in your life with women. You can design exactly the type of woman that you want by your side. And it doesn't matter if you don't have her. It doesn't matter if you've been introverted so far. It doesn't matter any of the things that have happened to you. It doesn't matter your physique. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter any of that. Because with work, that will become true. And this is one of the most powerful things when you really understand it and when you really believe in it. Because you're going to get the best results in life by thinking that the limits that you have are just limits of your own character. They're not conditions. I'll give you a final example, okay? So these applied into another area. So in the past 2 years, before starting the coaching again, this time in the English market, because I was doing this for a long time in the Spanish-speaking market in Spain. And then I had a bit of a pause where I was focusing on another business, which went very well. But in this pause, I built some beliefs which were, oh, I don't like to put myself out there. Oh, I don't like to do meetings. I don't like to do calls. I would like a faceless business always. And I had all this built up identity, and these were conditions of me as a person. I thought, again, because this is something that you have to constantly work on, or at least I did up until this point, because I fell into the same trap, which was, oh no, I'm actually introverted, I want a business which is very introverted based, not talking to anybody, just in my house, doing what I have to do in my computer. And I had built all these limiting beliefs, because they were limiting beliefs, but I thought they were conditions. And I was thinking how I'm going to structure my life, only working 1 hour per day, 2 hours per day, not talking to anybody, not doing meetings, being introverted, and these were just limitations of my current identity. So I had certain things I wanted to achieve, certain goals, and I was kind of like trying to go to 100 miles per hour, but I had the brakes on. So it was very counterproductive. And the same might be happening to you with women. You might have amazing goals like meeting your ideal woman, building a healthy relationship with her, having an amazing family in the future, being a confident man with her, a masculine man. But then you think, oh, but I want to do all of this while being super introverted and not talking to women in person and not doing that. And it's like, then what would happen if you just removed all the limitations? If you just said, no, I want to find my ideal girlfriend and have an amazing relationship with her. It doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter what I need to accomplish. It doesn't matter what type of new person I need to become, to evolve into. Not become somebody bad, in the sense of, again, lying, cheating. No. It doesn't matter the type of work I have to put into me. I just want that goal. And I'm going to build my new identity to get that goal. What would happen then? Well, what would happen is that your goal is to go at 100 miles per hour, and now you have the perfect engine, the perfect fuel, and the handbrake is not on. So you can actually go forward. So it doesn't matter what is true, only what you believe is true, because with work, that will become true. Now I'll leave you with this final quote on how to use mental reprogramming to build massive confidence with women. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're a 7 to 8 figure entrepreneur and you want to find your ideal girlfriend in person without relying on dating apps or social media, then you can go to armandgaribian.com, which is my website, where you will be able to watch more of my story, book a call with me one-on-one, and see if we're a good fit to work together to achieve this goal for your dating life. That's it for today's video, and I'll see you soon.